If you're going to war, you need to strike hard. PvP is dangerous, but Extinction can provide you some valuable tools. Today, I'm going to explain to you all the new items introduced in Extinction. Hello Dodo crew and welcome back for another video on ARK Ascended. Grab a bottle of water and let's get straight into it. Unlocked at level 58, the explosive spear is one of my new favorite weapons. It looks pretty cool and is just fun to play. It does pretty much exactly what its name says. It's a spear and it does explode if you throw it at something or someone. The left mouse button is a pretty normal poke and the right mouse button is throwing and activating the spear. As soon as you hit your target, the spear starts to sparkle and the fuse starts to burn. Depending on how long you charged it in your hand, it takes a few seconds or explodes immediately upon hitting a target, dealing some extra damage. It can damage structures, dealing about 200 damage to metal and 1.5k to stone, which is, if you consider its relatively low costs compared to grenades, actually a good amount of damage. We all waited for it, the BattleRig. The BattleRig Garage can be learned at level 50 and is pretty expensive. It is a huge structure which is used to craft your own BattleRig. It looks pretty cool and the new cars can be pretty useful. You can basically build your own car and have the possibility to build a BattleRig perfectly fitting your needs. I won't go into detail how to build a BattleRig. If you want a video on how to create the best BattleRig for PvP and PvE, tell me in the comment and I will do a video on that. Okay, listen to me. The Fire Extinguisher Grenade. It actually does what it's supposed to do. It puts out fires. All fires. If you're on fire, bang, it's out. If you want to tame a pyromane, swoosh, it's out. If enemies set fire to your base, it's just out. It's super cheap and I consider this item a must-have if you play PvP. No more flamethrower bobs destroying you with ascendant flamethrowers. From now on, this is also probably the go-to way on how to tame pyromanes. Just capture them, throw in a grenade and then run and kill everything. The Bladewasp Hive unleashes defensive swarms to defend your base, bringing down even the strongest flyers. You need a bunch of them. They do not deal much damage, but other than tech turrets, they will always hit flyers. While getting hit by those turrets, you get this warmth buff. Its damage is based on the max health of your tame, meaning the higher your HP, the more damage you get. Its damage increases with each tick and you will get a movement speed debuff if you fly into its range. It does only attack flyers, which means you can use it as an effective defense against people trying to dive bomb your base, meaning any person can run up to that turret and steal your honey because it's powered by honey and uses sulfur as ammunition. Just keep that in mind. Overall, I think this turret is pretty decent. It is not cheap, but it isn't super expensive either. Ammunition can be farmed pretty well. And if you're building on a pillar on Extinction, this will be a great defense against flyers. Okay, this is my favorite item, the Bio Grinder. Not only does it look stunning, it is also the best way to get the most out of your creatures, like literally. With it, you can turn any surplus creatures you have into resources, food and kibble. The production of kibble works as follows. Any creature that drops an egg can be ground up, and when you grind it, it drops the kibble you would produce with its egg instead of making it. You can get a pretty decent amount of kibble by grinding your creatures, so this is certainly worth a try. It's a big rig, but it can be very useful for shredding any tames you don't need. It needs gasoline to run and you can switch it on by stepping close to it. You can shred your tames by just running it into the blades and it will make resources out of your tames in no time. Have no fear, you can safely walk on the blades as they will not harm you. This structure is pretty dope, as you can now easily get a ton of hide by breeding sheeps and grinding them down. The Makeshift Megalab is basically a better chem bench. Not only can you produce everything that can be produced in the chem bench, you can also make element and element shards. It can be learned at level 92 and is quite powerful when you use it to transform your creatures. It is fueled by gas and by consuming element shards, you can respec all the levels you have invested in your creatures. Simply open its inventory and click on Reset Creatures. It will now search the ARK for creatures that have already been leveled up by you. Not wild levels, but only levels that you have invested in instead. When you respec your creatures, the Megalab consumes element shards equal to the number of levels changed. It takes a lot of element to change a creature, so watch out, this isn't something you can use all the time. As I'm focusing more on PvP stuff, I will jump over and keep the part about lights and lamps short. With the introduction of Extinction, we now got a bunch of new lights and lamps we can use to make our base prettier. I like the style of the lamps and I assume that people out of the builder scene already know how to make dope stuff with them. Just give them some time and we will see what crazy stuff they might build. To be able to place the tribe tower, well, you have to be in a tribe. Unlocked at level 42. Relatively soon in the game, gives you a stacking buff the longer it stands. It can only be placed on the overworld, and is wildcard's attempt to make the overworld more attractive and red holes less attractive. It can only be repaired after a really long cooldown. To power the tower, you need apex trophies like gigahertz. These power the tower for 3 hours per hog. As of now, it seems that all trophies give the same amount of fuel for the tower. As long as the tower is active, the stacks on the tower will increase over time. Bonus experience goes up to 20% extra, the taming speed goes up by 20%, and the element you get from bosses will also get up to 20% extra. This buff is pretty good overall, but I'm honestly not sure if it's enough to get me out of my red hole and build a base like this. I hope you liked this video, and I'm thrilled to read if this video has helped you. Hit the like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and consider subbing to the channel. Alright, Frodo.